One. Blocked.
I will say that
Your experience, you were in the suite having a good time, having a ball, doing things outside of the team.
it got to a point where it was like, I don't even care what y'all have to say no more. It's
Yeah.
like,
You won't believe how one single word just detonated the internet and dragged New Year's Eve glamour into a firestorm. And it's all because Angel Reese reacted to Kayla Nicole's bold New Year's Eve look. It's going to get wild, my friends. The moment didn't come with a press conference, a rant, or even a caption explaining intent, and that is exactly why it hit as hard as it did. Angel Reese, one of the most visible and polarizing young stars in women's basketball, reacted to Kayla Nicole's New Year's Eve look with just one word: woo. And within minutes, timelines across platforms were increasing. Screenshots spread faster than explanations. Fans started reading between lines that technically weren't even there. And suddenly, what should have been a glamorous holiday post turned into a cultural moment loaded with speculation, loyalty debates, and unspoken tension. Kayla Nicole's New Year's Eve appearance was designed to command attention. The look itself was bold, unapologetic, and unmistakably intentional, blending high fashion confidence with a social media ready edge that ensured it would dominate feeds as 2025 turned into 2026. She didn't just post an outfit, she posted a statement, one that instantly generated reactions from fans, fashion pages, and pop culture commentators who understand that her presence online is never accidental. Kayla has long positioned herself as someone who owns her narrative, especially after being thrust into the public eye through past high-profile relationships and the relentless scrutiny that followed. But here's where the drama deepened.
At that point, because
no, this is the question. Do I look like I would go 50-50 on bills?
no.
Okay. So yeah, that was ridiculous. But he addressed that too though. That was, I don't even know.
Angel Reese didn't react the way celebrities usually do when they want to play it safe. There was no string of emojis and no neutral compliments that leave room for plausible deniability. There was just one word: short, sharp, loaded, and whether intentional or not, that word became the spark that ignited a full-blown conversation about alignment, subtle shade, and the unspoken politics of online interactions among women in the sports and celebrity ecosystem. Fans immediately split into camps. Some interpreted Angel's reaction as supportive, reading it as admiration from one powerful woman to another who refuses to shrink herself for public comfort. Others weren't so convinced.
You don't even know what he was doing. You don't even know the half. Like, I want to say, like, because that's a lot. That's maturity. A lot of women don't have that. And just being able to...
Angel Reese and Kayla Nicole even sat down together on Unapologetically Angel to talk openly about fame, haters, and public scrutiny. But the episode sparked backlash as many viewers criticized Angel's tone and body language, saying it felt tense and dismissive rather than conversational. They argued that the brevity itself was the message, suggesting that in a world where Angel Reese is never short on personality or expression, choosing a single word felt calculated. And then came the deeper speculation, the kind that thrives online late at night when screenshots get dissected, pixel by pixel, and intent is debated like evidence in a courtroom. Hold on for what's coming next, because this reaction didn't exist in a vacuum. Angel Reese has been navigating her own complicated relationship with public perception, visibility, and scrutiny. As a WNBA rookie and cultural figure, she has become a lightning rod for conversation, often praised for her confidence and authenticity while simultaneously criticized for the same traits. Every post, every comment, every like is now analyzed through a lens that assumes strategy, even when spontaneity might be the truth.
Are poking and prodding and analyzing your every move. You know, that's not what's important. I think what's most important is to really like check in with yourself and figure out where you are mentally and do the work internally.
At the same time, Kayla Nicole's online presence carries its own weight. She has repeatedly spoken about reclaiming her narrative, about being seen as more than a former partner to a superstar athlete, and about embracing her individuality without apology. Her New Year's Eve look wasn't just fashion, it was a visual declaration of confidence, independence, and control. That context matters because it's what turned Angel Reese's single word reaction into something people believed had layers. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to shock you with one more bomb.
Just drink the wine so we can.
The internet flipped the switch from speculation to full-blown narrative warfare when resurfaced clips of Travis Kelce and Kayla Nicole started circulating. Those old moments showed visible strain long before the breakup, then tying Kayla Nicole's bold New Year's Eve look into a viral storyline that fans argued symbolized confidence, independence, and why Travis ultimately moved on to Taylor Swift, not as a confirmed truth, but as a sensational theory that spread like wildfire because social media thrives on dramatic conclusions more than verified facts. What made the moment even more explosive was timing. New Year's Eve posts already exist in a heightened emotional space where symbolism, reflection, and projection collide. People aren't just looking at outfits, they're looking for narratives about growth, revenge, glow-ups, and fresh starts. Kayla Nicole's look landed squarely in that space, and Angel Reese's reaction became the punctuation mark that made it feel like part of a bigger story. This is where the conversation subtly shifted. It stopped being only about fashion, or basketball, or celebrity, and became about influence. Angel Reese represents a new generation of athletes who understand that their power doesn't end at the court. Kayla Nicole represents a modern media figure who refuses to be reduced to a footnote in someone else's career. When those two worlds intersect, even briefly, the ripple effects are inevitable.
We are not as cool as we were
before.
But
were you guys cool genuinely because like
yeah,
you guys were friends, or was it just when you get into you're around these women all the time?
Online commentators began pulling up past interviews, old tweets, and previous interactions, searching for patterns that might explain the reaction. Some pointed out that Angel has consistently shown support for women owning their image and voice, suggesting that the one-word response was simply her style, direct and unfiltered. Others countered that in a culture obsessed with optics, minimalism can speak louder than enthusiasm. And then came the speculative layer that always arrives eventually. People started asking whether this was about more than just a look. Was it about proximity to fame? About reclaiming narratives? About women navigating public spaces shaped by male attention while refusing to center men at all? None of these questions had answers, but they didn't need them to dominate discourse. But because the reaction also highlighted something uncomfortable but real, women in the public eye are constantly compared, contrasted, and positioned against each other, even when there's no explicit conflict. A single word can be framed as praise or provocation, depending on who's reading it and what they want to see. Angel Reese didn't create that dynamic, but her visibility amplified it. Meanwhile, Kayla Nicole didn't respond directly to the reaction, which only intensified speculation. Silence in this context became another form of communication. Some saw it as confidence, others as strategic restraint. Either way, it kept the story alive, and in the attention economy, staying alive is half the game. What's important to note is that neither woman said anything overtly negative. There were no insults, no call-outs, no subtweets that crossed into hostility, and yet the internet managed to turn restraint into drama, brevity into narrative, and observation into controversy. That alone says more about the current state of online culture than it does about either Angel or Kayla, and this moment also reinforced Angel Reese's growing cultural reach. Her comment mattered because people care what she thinks, how she reacts, and where she positions herself. That level of influence doesn't come from stats alone. It comes from presence, authenticity, and the willingness to exist loudly in spaces that often demand silence from women. For Kayla Nicole, the moment reaffirmed her ability to command attention without explanation. Her look sparked conversation before Angel Reese ever entered the chat. The reaction simply added another layer, another angle for discussion, and another reminder that she remains a figure people watch closely, whether they admit it or not. As days passed, the initial shock didn't fade so much as it evolved. The conversation shifted from the word itself to what it represented: power, visibility, interpretation, the way women are read, decoded, and sometimes misread in public spaces that thrive on projection. And that might be the most dramatic part of all, because it reveals how little it actually takes to ignite massive discourse. Angel Reese moved on, as she often does, focused on her career, her brand, and her own goals. Kayla Nicole continued owning her image, posting confidently, and letting the visuals speak. But the internet didn't move on so easily, because moments like this feed something deeper than gossip. They feed curiosity about power dynamics, equal representation, and how women navigate visibility without without asking permission. This was really a collaboration, and that's why it lingered, because sometimes the loudest drama doesn't come from shouting at all. One word was all it took to shake the timeline and remind everyone who really controls attention online. And if this is how the year started, imagine what comes next.